90% of the athletes that take it to the next level out of high school, they have been playing that sport since they were about 6 or 7 years old.
Right.
So they've been doing this one thing for as long as they can remember. And it's like, it's over. They don't know what else to do because that's who they've become. And a lot of athletes struggle because they don't have anybody to direct them or tell them what's going to take place and identify what they're feeling. You know what I'm saying? And that was the hard part for me. I couldn't identify what I was feeling. What's going on? It's the one and only Coach Dom.
That's your boy, Coach Ed.
And we back with another episode of the Players in Transition podcast where we giving you all the heat. We giving you all the information that you need just from our expertise and some of the questions that we've asked other former players. We will be coming with more interviews, more topics, and just pure information to help you get through your transition in life and in sports. But dog, what's going on with you? How you been, bro?
Good, man. Good, man. Good week. Good week.
Good weekend so far.
Great weekend. Wonderful.
That made the eyebrows raise. You had
Life is good. Life is good. I can't complain. Hopefully, my Cowboys end the weekend well tomorrow. I'm a Cowboys fan, man.
My Ravens, we kicked up. Literally kicked up. my boy Tucker hit the 66-yarder.
Yo, the reaction was hilarious.
Broke the record.
Like, oh.
Yo, I thought we was about to get a delay a game flag, but my boy, it came through in the clutch, hit the crossbar, and fell in. I was like, yo,
that shit was crazy,
that's
bro.
lit. That's lit.
Just imagine the psychology behind that, though, man. Like,
but then there was another game. What was the other game where somebody went to kick, like, try to break the record and kick it, and then they ran? Was it the Jaguars? Jaguars ran it all the way back. Yo, like 109 yards. He tried to go for the record. I think it was like 68-yard field goal.
Bro, once you get above 60, that's the scary part about the field goal, bro. That thing could be returned.
Cat from the Jaguars caught it and took it all the way back. I know they was sick, and I think it was right before halftime. Like,
you got at least 6 linemen on the field.
Yeah,
information. So
what's the point of that? Took it to the crib, or I know he's sick. I forgot. I wonder who they play. I gotta look that one up, dog.
Hey man, if any coaches are listening, put D linemen and your DNs preferably on your field goal block. I don't know why that was involved to that.
If that was the end of the game, like if that was how you win the game, bro, that would have been crazy.
It's happened before, bro. It's happened too many times before for people not to
have kicker. The kicker would have had to, like, he would have had to, like. I've seen moments where kickers have. I was on a team with the Vikings. We was in the playoffs against the Seattle Seahawks, bro.
Yeah.
And the kicker missed like a chip shot, basically, and I thought, bro, was gonna kill himself. It was that bad. But I was sitting on the sideline like, yo, we got 9 points and he scored all 9 of them.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's like we all got a job to do. Everybody didn't do their job to the best of their ability.
Right.
He missed a game-winning kick. But I was just like, yo, we wouldn't even be in the game if it wasn't for him.
But people won't remember that.
People don't care about
it. Missed field goal.
People don't care about it.
Eating at you.
Yeah, that was my leadership moment where I was just like, yo, man, it's a kick. Like, I understand the playoffs is big. I understand it's important to people. And like, you can't throw this man away just because he missed a kick.
Especially since he made 3 other ones.
He needs somebody. He's gonna need somebody because that's hard for him. And then you're gonna have everybody else in the crowd. You got fans that he don't even see. Family members probably on him about it. And then, as a teammate, as a brother, like, we can't put him down. Like, that's hard. Who can he turn to at that point?
I hope he got a good wife. Little kids too, not even teenage kids. Little 4-year-olds that love him either way, and a dog. Because that's it.
That's hard.
That's where it's coming from.
Yeah, right.
All his
So
family. Man, it gets crazy because then people gonna be like, "Well, you could have made the next time you'll make the kick." That's just as bad. That's just as bad. That's just as bad.
yeah,
Like,
ever since that kick, my man been on like five different teams. I don't even think he's in the league no more.
I don't think he can
That's
kick.
traumatizing, dog.
Yeah,
You can get death threats and everything, yo.
yeah. People don't even care about you.
And
Nice.
the crazy thing about it was all of the media was at his locker. Yo, I would have, yo, that's hard, yo. I would like, I wonder like what happens to him like after sports. Like, how does he feel after that? Because that moment that's heavy.
A lot. It's a lot to take in psychologically, man. Like, a lot happens to you. First of all, that happens before sports, but then you get into sports. It's like, what's the psychology of that? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, even if he doesn't need it in that moment, like he's gonna need it at some point after because when he drops football, I guarantee you there's somebody right now that still remembers that game.
Yeah, me, fool. Yeah. Shoot, I remember like it was yesterday.
Like a mug. Like another one I remember I mean luckily this dude he ain't gonna be well he might have the Dez Bryant catch. That's the one that reminds me the most.
Oh yeah,
That's the one where I'm like, there's always a play and it's like how somebody gonna process that years after? Especially after they say it was a catch.
yeah,
How
that's
do you
hard.
process that later?
Yeah, you can't.
Therapy. That's the way you find out.
And so, the quote for today, we always rock with quotes. And it's by my boy Russ Kyle. He's a life coach with Tony Robbins, one of the most famous, well-known, and one of my favorite motivational speakers. But my man Russ Kyle says, let your story go. Allow yourself to be present with who you are right now. Unpack that for me real quick, bro.
I think it's like let everything else from around you go, man. Like in order to really embrace yourself and become the best of you, you gotta let go of the things that are outside that you can't control and the things that have happened. While I've have said before, yes, they are you. They're the past. And really they're figments of imagination if you really want to get into it. It's not what's happening currently. Um that's all you can really control. What's going
Right.
on in the current moment. Things in the future are possibilities. You don't know if you're gonna make it. Things in the past, they happened already. But in your moment right now, you control this, you control everything else.
Right. And with that quote, and I'm gonna touch on that with something Tony Robbins said. I don't know exactly what he said, but I know he was like, you know, depression is us living in the past. I think, and then my therapist also said it too. Depression is us living in the past, and
Mm-hmm.
then anxiety is us living too far ahead in the future. So, what that quote says to me is like, let it go. Let go of like your past and the things that are holding you back and the things that you did before, like your mistakes. All right, you made them already. Learn from them and move forward. You know what I'm saying? And that's what that quote means to me. Is like you got to know when to let go and live in the present.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So
It's
that's
hard
all
for
that
some people, man. It's
is.
hard for some people to let go and live in the present, man. Like I said, man, like we said, man, things happen in life, and sometimes there's no recourse for it. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? And it's hard to let go. It's just like we did this exercise in law school, and my like teacher was like, "Purple elephants." All right, I'm sorry. Don't think about purple elephants. Release it from your head. Don't ever think about a purple elephant again in your life. We were doing it to show evidence and how people can hear something and it's never gone. But it's like when you have an experience happen like that, you can't just erase it. Like something like
Right.
don't think about purple elephants. You know what I'm saying? Like how are you not gonna not think of it? Now it's in your head forever. So it's the same thing. It's like it's hard to erase those things. So people need to go through some type of treatment for it.
Right. You have to figure out ways to let it go. It's
Yeah.
hard to just throw it out of your mind. Like once it's in your mind, you're gonna think about it. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? I think we have like on average like 60,000 thoughts a day.
It's
You know
crazy.
what I'm saying? And most of those thoughts are reoccurring. So it's like you gotta be careful what you consume because it's gonna be repeated in your mind and in your thought pattern over and over and over.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of why I've digressed from listening to certain music and watching certain things on TV. is
Yeah.
because I'm trying to make sure I feed this mind everything that it needs to be better and be
Right.
and progress. You know what I'm saying?
Correct.
So, my question, after, talking about what we just talked about, that kicker and, Des Bryant dropping that catch. And, my thing is, should athletes be required to take therapy after sports, right?
Hmm.
Should an athlete have to go see a therapist immediately after they're done with their sports, or while they're, let's talk after they're done?
I think yes. Most athletes in most situations are either at an academic institution or a professional organization when they're done with sports.
Mhm.
There's some people that I guess you could argue semi-pro, but outside of the semi-pro realm, I feel like most people do finish in one of those other realms as either senior college, senior in high school, or your last year of your contract in the NFL, right? But I definitely think that all those I just named, whether it's a school or organization, they have psychologists and therapists. And while yes, it may be a little more on that psychologist or therapist, I'm sure it's not that much more. Even if it is just an hour to sit down with all the players and you field it and you just let them know, what are you gonna do post football? How is this making you feel? Like you can get some just baseline questions. But I
Right.
do think that beginning to have that conversation immediately and letting them identify that early could
Mhm.
definitely be beneficial.
Yeah. Um, I'm trying to figure out, like, should it be college seniors or cats that's going, that know they're about to go pro? Should they be required to, like, take therapy, or should it be? It's ways that it can happen, right? And I feel like it should be a requirement for
Agreed.
athletes to see a therapist before they, leave their sport,
Hmm.
because 90% of the athletes that take it to the next level out of high school, they have been playing that sport since they were about 6 or 7 years old.
Right.
So they've been doing this one thing for as long as they can remember. And it's like, it's over. They don't know what else to do because that's who
Hmm.
they've become. And a lot of athletes struggle because they don't have anybody to direct them or tell them what's going to take place, and identify what they're feeling. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And that was the hard part for me. I couldn't identify what I was feeling. No matter how many people, told me what was taking place with me, I still needed to identify it, if that makes sense.
No, definitely. That's why I think it could be very beneficial. Um, the first step to any type of recovery is just knowing, right? Understanding and acknowledging what's going on. That's why I think whether it's a senior in high school, senior in college, and then, like I said again, at the end of the contract, but whether they're going to the pros or not, I definitely think both seniors in college and seniors in high school should be able to have a conversation with the specialist, either in that school district. I know there's some situations where they're not necessarily the same amount of resources in all schools, but there are the same amount of resources in all districts, and
Right.
they have district wide physicals and all other type stuff and jamborees. We can have a district wide real quick 15-30 minute session where everybody get their therapy, well, at least the seniors, because
Right.
I think it's big, because whether you're going on to play in a league or the sport's done for you, maybe somebody might even need to have a realistic conversation with you, because I know for me, coming out of high school, I was told straight up, you're not going to play D1. You'll be on the team, you're not going to play. And I was like, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. Like, he's like, all right. Coach told him straight up. Maybe if he would have had a psychologist sit down and then he sit with him, like they go down every senior. Everybody got a list of seniors. You ain't got more than 15. Go down and be like, look, this is what I think about him, and tell you this is what your coach, who's been coaching you for X amount of moments, thinks about you. Let them know so it's a realistic expectation, because it's a lot, man. It's a lot of kids that out here, they don't know. They don't know the other side. Like there's some people that's nice that's gonna find out next year you aren't nice at all. Like you were good. You were good. You're not
it's,
nice.
it's what, less than 1% of cats make it to the NFL, and then I think it's even less for NBA and
No,
MLB. Like, the
it is
percentages is super low. You got
super
millions
low.
of people wanting to become professional athletes at that level so that they're seen on television, and it's like, come on, man, it's a struggle to get within that percentage. But what happens when you don't? Like, a
especially
lot of
because
it's hard for a lot of people to let that go.
nah, for real. I was just talking to my boy about we was watching that game. He was like, cause we were looking at we were looking at one game. He was like, yo, cuz it's big. He was like, yeah, that's one of the moments where you find out that you're not cut for it.
Yeah.
And I was like, so how you get there? He was like, bruh, like if you really think about it, it's the people that really like dedicate their lives to football. And he's like, but everybody that does it still don't make it. So then what next? And that's when I was like, dog, that's crazy. It's literally what we about to talk about tonight. I was like, that's insane.
It's chance, man. It's chance and opportunity. Once you get your opportunity to do something, you gotta do it. You gotta take advantage of it. Like
For
for
sure.
me, I knew my opportunity to get looked at by the NFL was against some of those Division 1A teams. Like when we went
Mm-hmm.
to play Florida Atlantic, I made sure I had 100 yards.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? When we went and played Syracuse, I made sure that I showed more than just running the ball. I showed that I can block. I showed that I can catch. Like
Right.
against those big opponents, I made sure I showed and I flashed on film. Like
Mm.
even if the ball wasn't coming to me, like you were throwing a pass and I'm in the screen, I'm hustling. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Because
Exactly.
that's what I heard. That what coaches like to see. So I
Right.
did it. You know what I'm saying? So I got my opportunity. But back to that question, at what level should therapy be required? Should it be required at the high school level, college level, or pros, or all of the above?
I think all of the above. I think it should just be just as important as any other part. You talk about a society in which we're still losing jobs, a situation where people need jobs. Why can't every athletic department hire one or two therapists? We got all these compliance officers and people that make sure we get our grades together. Why don't we
Yeah.
hire therapists to also help people with that transition? Because, like I said, I'm sure once we get into the weeds of it, there'll be a lot of rules as well with my pay grade. I'm willing to sit down with anybody to help figure this out. I'm gonna need some chatter. But either way, we can figure it out. We figure out a whole bunch of other stuff. They
Right.
figured out how to get the name, image, and likeness. Is that you definitely gonna need some therapy post that because then it's gonna elevate. Some people are gonna think that may not have been as nice or may have thought they were nice in college because they had this offer, that offer, this offer, that offer. Come up against that dude to go to Northeast Missouri State in Wisconsin and he get blasted at camp, he gonna be like, man, but I was supposed to be this guy. It's like, yeah, but the guy just beat you. Like, I don't know what to tell you. You know what I mean? But you had like 10, 12 commercials when you were in college, so you thought you was the man.
And that's crazy because the psychology of it all is like, you know, your whole world is blown up in your face
Yeah,
once it's over.
yeah,
And a lot of people don't have the privilege to just walk away. You know what I'm saying? Like me, I didn't have that real privilege. Like I got injured and decided to walk away. You know what I'm saying? Like after I got cut and released and things like that. Like so when it's blown up in your face, I think the impact of it is heavier in college and pros.
mm-hmm.
So I think the requirement should be with them,
Mm-hmm.
the college and the pros, that all athletes take some type of therapy.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
because that's when you are really devoting your entire life to that sport. You know what I'm saying? Or if
mm-hmm.
not your entire life, you're devoting a great majority of your time to that one thing. And it's like once it blows up in your face, you don't know what to do,
Right.
like literally. And then it's like you go through an emotional ride that you can't identify. Like you're struggling because you had to be one person in that sport, and now that that sport is over, and you're not doing the same things that you did when you were playing that sport, you feel lost. You don't know like what type what you have to live a whole different life,
No, that's real.
and that's hard, man.
No, it's definitely hard, man. I think one of the harder parts about it, I think you hit a good point, is that like you were given the structure as a college athlete. In high school, everybody's given the structure. It's literally a law in America. You gotta go to school until you're what 16, some
Yeah.
states 18. So like, I don't hear, oh, you don't have to. A majority of people are in high school and have a structure now. Whether you drop out and then go get your GED later is another thing. Majority of people are in high school, but in college, post high school, especially if you're an athlete, it's assumed that you're in college. Whether it's NAIA, D3, D2, D1, doesn't matter. as an athlete, then in your transition, you're now going into the world with a whole bunch of other people that really didn't have a structure. They had a structure in that, yeah, they had to get the classes, and they may have been in this club or that club. But like we could quit the football team. But we couldn't quit the football team.
Yeah, right. You
What
couldn't.
what would happen to your life if you went to your coach? Our coach was the ham line. What do we go to him like? I'm done, bruh. How much more money do you owe for the rest of the semester? Are you gonna be able to come back? Like, I mean, people have done it, but the people I know of and you know of, I'm pretty sure it's medical reasons. It wasn't like, or they weren't on money.
Right.
But if you
They weren't
on
on
money, you
scholarship.
can't just go there and tell them bye.
Yeah, right.
Your parents coming to get you? Because I know mine would have been like, you better go back in there and tell them you changed your mind. You were playing.
Yeah, that scholarship is over with. Once you decide that you're done, you
Yeah,
have to really evaluate like your options. You know what I
yeah,
mean? And a lot of people say, throw away plan B, throw away plan C. And it's just like, no. If I'm listening to one of the richest men in the world talk about him setting goals, right?
mhm.
And him having multiple streams of income, to me, that sounds like multiple plans. Am I right or wrong?
No, it definitely does.
You know what I'm saying? Like, even though you may have a plan A that you're focusing on right now, you still need some type of goal, like after the fact. Like, it's a finish line that keeps moving.
Right,
That's what life is all about. Like, your finish line keeps moving. Once you cross one tape, there's another to finish. There's another
right,
across.
right.
And that's what I kind of took after my relapse, right? And I say relapse because when football was over, I was fiending for it. I wanted to go back to it so bad, and it took everything in me to not go back to it. And then I got to a point where I was like, man, forget it. Like, I had a bad mindset about it. And then out of nowhere, once I was able to run and jump again,
Uh-huh.
I had a relapse. I wanted to go back to it. So I was fiending, and it was
Right.
doing something to me. Like, like it almost felt like a drug addict, not
It's a
necessarily.
drug. No,
You know what I'm saying?
it's a drug. How many times do you hear people say, "Man, if I can get one more play," like we
Yeah,
joking, but we so serious.
yo,
What?
I really struggled with letting it go,
Yeah.
and that's why that quote is so powerful. He say, "Let your story go. Allow yourself to be present with who you are right now." And it then took me for 3 to 4 years to really let go and decide, like, this is who I am right now, and this is who I'm going to be. So I started to create who I was going to be in the future. You know what I mean?
That's big, yeah, and then that kind of hits directly. I'm glad you said that because it hits directly what I feel we need to do. Well,
Right,
not what you mean you, but they need to do is like you have a structure in your sport, whatever sport it is, and like now the football's over. I think that's what that first therapy session should be. They're
right,
not gonna give you the world. You have a lot to experience, but they should let the athletes know you're going into an unstructured world.
right,
Your world's been structured for the past X amount of years. How are we going to begin to set up your structure? Like you said, be present now. How are we going to begin to do it?
right. Yeah. So take me through, because I know you and I both talk, bro. We talk, and we're both in therapy. So take me through um one of your most impactful sessions.
Um,
And did it have anything to do with like sport, like you letting go sports?
it was really when I figured out that everything, good, bad, or indifferent, is all me. And it sounds so cliche, but it's really the truth because it's like you try to blame people from the past for certain things, but you like,
Mhm.
but they're not really around anymore. Or you try to say like, oh well, this could have happened, but when you really trace it back, it goes back to a decision you could have made that you did have a decision. Whether it
Right,
goes back 5 minutes before, 10 minutes before, a month before, a year before, you can really trace back in every moment you're in if you're emotionally mature enough and really be able to be like, yeah, that was my fault. That was my fault right there. Not saying that the other person didn't, but we're talking about yourself. That's also part of it. It don't matter what anybody else does. Understanding that, and it's kind of like we talked about earlier in the conversation. What you do is what controls what you do.
right,
So if you control everything in the right way, it's very rare that like something bad is gonna happen. You know what I'm saying? Like, at least from other people,
right.
stuff happens. Trees fall, stuff like that. But interactions with people, it's very rare something else is gonna happen.
Yeah, mine was kind of One of my most impactful sessions was she made me realize like everything that I was doing now started when I was a kid, right?
Mm-hmm.
And even through sports, it got worse. So
Mm-hmm.
I was always trying to perform for everybody in my family and
Mm-hmm.
trying my best to get everybody's approval. And that's what made me good in football because I did everything I could to get everybody's approval.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, I was like, oh, I ain't know that I was doing that. I
Right.
ain't know that, you know what I'm saying? Deep down inside, when I was talking through everything that I experienced and why I went so hard to make it to the NFL, it was all an approval thing because people when I was younger would talk about me as an athlete. They would say, he not that fast. He not that good. He shouldn't be the running back. He shouldn't be this. And I always wanted to shut people up. I always wanted to prove people wrong.
Right.
When deep inside, when we unpacked everything, it was I wanted everybody's approval. I wanted everybody to like me.
Mm-hmm.
So I just went hard. But it kind of did a switch when I got to college. It was like, well, now I just want to be the best. I just
Right.
want to be better than everybody. You know what I'm saying? And there were still moments where I just wanted to prove everybody wrong because even when I got to college, people would still talk about me. People would
Oh.
still say, bad things like after I tore my ACL, Cats was like, yo, he ain't gonna come back the same. We need to find a new running back. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like my entire life was me trying to prove people wrong. And then, after talking to her, she was like, no, that was you trying to get their approval.
Right.
And because once you made it, you kind of took your foot off the gas. And I was like, yeah.
Damn.
I was going through, I was going through so much. I kind of, even though I was still working hard. Like it was surface level work. Like it wasn't the Dom work. Like Dom does extra. Dom goes the extra mile. You know what I'm saying? Dom will, spending his whole week focusing on when football season is in.
Right.
Dom is all football. Everything is all football, and that wasn't the case when I was in the NFL. I was trying to suppress some of the things that I was feeling with
Right.
alcohol, women, and clubbing and things like that, buying unnecessary outfits just to go to the club and stand on. You know what I'm saying? I'm buying clothes just to stand on the couch and then talk to a
Mm.
girl and go home and then argue with my girl the fact that I did some dumb stuff. It was just a cycle.
Exactly. Just to feel, just for someone else's approval, not because you really wanted to.
And it was toxic. And
It's a toxic
I
lifestyle.
spent a lot of time blaming people, dog.
Oh yeah.
I spent too many years blaming people, like blaming my dad, like people from the past, blaming my
Yeah.
ex. I spent too much time blaming people instead of uncovering what was truly happening. You know what I'm saying? Instead
Yeah.
of me owning up to the fact that I made that decision in that moment because I needed that pleasure in that moment, not
Okay.
because of somebody else.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's a tough thing to unpack to understand that, like you said, it's a lot of stuff is us.
Yeah.
A lot of our problems start with us. It's a hard pill to swallow, man. It really is. And a lot of people are hurting and they won't get there until they understand that.
Yeah.
Tough thing to get though, man.
Yeah, for sure, bro. But shoot, man, look, we at the extra point segment, dog.
Here we go.
And I can sense you got something you want to drop.
Um,
So hit us with an extra point, dog.
yeah, man. No matter how hard it gets, keep on going, man. It's the up days and it's down days. We 30, some people might be 40, 50. You know that, but like, keep reminding yourself of that stuff. Like, man. Like, things have changed so much, so quick. So many different ways, so many different times. Like, it's just like a football game, man. Like, I saw a kick today. I mean, they ended up getting throttled, but it was 21-0. Redskins scored on the screen, and then the kicker kicks the ball, and like the ball bounces like 10, 15 yards in the air. Kicker gets the ball, Redskins ball going in on the 30 again. Like, life can change so quick, man. Just be ready for your moment, man. Be ready for your moment because your moment's gonna come and go, and like life is gonna go on. You may not, if you miss your moment, you're not gonna die, but you may not get that moment again.
Hey,
You're gonna have to deal with it for a long time.
facts. And just to add on to what you were saying earlier, um, we are, we were, I'll say this, we were a combination of everything we consumed.
Mm-hmm.
Again, like we were a combination of our parents, right? Everything we saw in our house, that's what
Mm-hmm.
made us who we were. Um, we were a combination of what we watched on television and what we listened to on the radio or in our Walkmans, you know what I'm saying, back
Right.
in the day, you know, in the video games that we played. That those things are what made us who we were. But when you find yourself, you are who you want to be.
Agreed.
That makes sense?
Mm-hmm.
Like you have the ability to create whoever it is that you want to be because you can create the display, right? You can create what you want the world to see. And that's why, you know, I kind of use that Instagram as an analogy because on Instagram or whatever it is, whatever social media, you could create whatever
Whoever you want to be, though.
whoever you want to be.
Yep.
And that's life. You can literally create whoever you want to be, but you have to be brave enough to do it.
Brave enough to do it. And honestly, make sure it's you.
Yeah,
Because when it ain't, you better be ready for that storm that comes after.
that's what I'm saying. Like 9 times out of 10, what you're attracted to is who you are.
Mm.
You
Oh,
know what I'm
Lord.
saying? Let's be
We
honest.
can't really show. I don't want to say what I'm attracted to.
If you're attracted to it, you know, like think about it. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah. Yeah.
it's who you
Yeah.
are. Find
Birds of a
some
feather.
find somebody that you want to be like and then kind of, you know, mold it and shape it how you want to be. Like that's who you are deep down inside.
That's real.
That's real. Dog. Another episode of the Players in Transition podcast with Coach Don.
Coach Ed, man. Follow us on the social media.
Yes, sir.
Players in Transition on Instagram. I'm Eddie Shep, EDDIESHHEPP. And Don, what's your links, man?
A and Dom, Coach Dom is DW Inspires with an S at the end. DW Inspires with an S, because that's my mission in life is to inspire.
Let them know.
We out of here. Peace.